Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. So in this week's Torah portion, we get introduced to the greatest and most impactful Jewish leader, Moses, the leader who took us out of Egypt, who brought the Jews to Sinai and brought them onto the cusp of Israel, Eretz Yisrael, which later was taken by Joshua. And when you think about leadership, we think about Moses as the epitome of leadership and someone that we could learn from and we could be guided by. And it's interesting because in this week's Torah portion, Moses is a shepherd and he's looking after his sheep, and suddenly he sees a burning bush and he turns toward the burning bush and God calls him and he says, Hineni, here I am. And God says, go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go, get the Jews out of Egypt. And Moses is hesitant. First he says, listen, who am I? I stutter, I have a speaking issue. Who's this? What's going, maybe send Aaron, my older brother. The first time you see a sibling saying, no, it's not me, maybe my older brother could be. Think about if our leaders today would ever say someone else could be better at something than me. Here, today, leaders fight to be the leaders at irrational ways and do crazy things even when they're not fit for the job. But Moses says, maybe Aaron should be the one. And then God says, no, you're the right one. And then Moses says the words, Shlach no biyad tishlach. Send through the hands of those who you're used to, who you've sent before. And the question is, well, what's going on here? What's Moses saying? When did God take people out of Egypt before? And who did he send before? And why would Moses be saying this? And Rabbi Israel Meir Lau, the chief rabbi of Israel, the previous chief rabbi who was a survivor himself and a brilliant speaker, says something very insightful and powerful. He says, the greatest connection we have is to our children and grandchildren. We love our nieces, our nephews, but there's nothing greater than children and grandchildren. And what Moses was really telling to God is, when you had to save Lot, the nephew of Abraham, you didn't send a person, you sent an angel. So why didn't you send an angel now also? Why are you sending me, a human, when these are your children? Send an angel to help and to take the Jews and to free them from Egypt. And that's what God says to Moses. God turns to Moses and he says, actually, you as a human being are greater than an angel. Because if you study Torah, you know that when you make someone a messenger, they could literally be in your place as if it's you. So what God was telling Moses is, an angel is great, but when a human rises to the occasion, he becomes the messenger of God, which is even greater than an angel. And since these are my children, I want you, a human being, to act as my messenger, as my angel, because that's greater than any angel. And you think about life and you think about the opportunities we have to be angels in people's lives as human beings. And that's the greatest virtue we have and the greatest messenger of God to impact and to change. And when you think about leaders and you think about how they could possibly think, 1 second, how could I help people instead of how I could get more power, then things would be very different. In Shabbos and Shul, I told people a remarkable story. We all see what's going on in Israel, and the country's fractured, and there's so much friction, and everyone's so divided. And of course, you hear that when you open the news. That's what you hear, and naturally so. That's the way it works. But there's also a lot of positivity. And I have a colleague, a rabbi in Canada, in Toronto. His name is Rabbi Meir Dubrovsky, and he was just in Israel for an event, and he said he got in this car. He was driving from Kiryat Gat to Jerusalem, and he realized he's low on gas, so he pulled into a gas station. And when he pulls into the gas station, he sees there's a big lot. He puts his credit card in, and the credit card declines. So he goes into the service station, and he checks in with the person and says, hey, what's going on? And the guy says, oh, we only take Israel bank cards, not American credit cards. So he starts fidgeting in his pocket. Meanwhile, the line is getting longer, and he finds some American cash. He had just come from America, and the guy says, sorry, we're going to take shekels. And meanwhile, the line's getting longer. People are getting frustrated. And suddenly, some guy from the back of the line says, you know what, I'll fill up gas for you. So he says, okay, give me, a couple of liters so I could just get to my next destination. I'll figure out. And the guy insists, no, I want to fill up your entire tank. And he insists, and they fill up his entire tank, and it's almost $150. In Israel, gas is expensive, not like here. So he takes out his cash to give the guy, and the guy refuses. He says, let me get my, let me get your information. I'll send you a check. I'll send you bank info. The guy said, absolutely not. I want to do this as a gift. This is my thing. So he says, tell me your name. And the guy refused. He says, I'll only tell you my first name. It's Aaron. He says, let me at least take a picture with you. So possibly, I could share the inspiration. He says, sure, he allows him. He takes a picture with him. And naturally, as a Chabad rabbi, wants to share the inspiration. He puts it on his Facebook page. And within a couple of hours, he gets an email or a Facebook message from a woman called Shitrit. She says, hi, thank you so much for sharing the story. Aaron is actually my husband. And I'm so grateful for you for sharing the story, because my husband didn't even tell me what he did. And I thought to myself, talk about being an angel. Talk about shlachna b'yad tishlach, sending that which you are accustomed to sending. God says greater than an angel is the human being who acts like an angel and becomes a messenger of God. But to me, the most remarkable thing was that not only didn't he want to give his last name or share any publicity, he didn't even tell his wife the story. It was a good deed he did, and it wasn't necessary to brag about it. May all our leaders learn from Moses and Aaron and how we look at our jobs and feel our responsibilities to those that we serve. Have a great day.